If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello everyone, um, I'm Johan. I am SAP EWM trainer at ZaranTech, and I take care of all training and project related activities at ZaranTech. I'll just briefly introduce myself and then we can continue with the session. Okay, so I have 16 years of overall SAP experience. Last 8 years I'm working in SAP EWM. Prior to SAP EWM, I was working as SAP MMWM consultant. I am certified into all these modules. I am, I am, um, I have worked on several EWM projects. I have worked on rollout, implementation. I've done 4 implementations in EWM. I've done some implementation in the Greenfield. I worked on Greenfield project. I've done implementation in S/4HANA, and I've also worked in migration projects from WM to EWM. Overall, I have 10 years of training experience. I have been also associated with several corporate trainings as well. Okay, so that was a brief background about myself. Today's session, it's a demo session. Basically, it's all about what we will what are what is SAP EWM consultant, what are the prerequisites, and we will talk about the course, how the course is conducted, what are the topics we are going to take, what you are going to learn, and we'll quickly cover the salary trend and job trend in SAP EWM. I think you might be well aware of those. If you have done some research on SAP EWM, but we'll quickly discuss if you have any questions on the job and the salary trend for SAP EWM. So we can look at some statistics. So, um, okay. So, what is SAP EWM and what is required for learning SAP EWM? So basically, what is a prerequisite to learn SAP EWM? See, SAP EWM is a is a SAP EWM consultant is a consultant that will take care of all the uh, uh, processes related to warehousing, right? So warehousing, what is warehousing? We have warehouses, okay, and there are products which are received in warehouse, which move out of warehouse. I hope you all might have seen warehouse at some point of time, right? uh, I think very commonly seen, you can physically see a warehouse while you are shopping in Costco in US, right? So when you go for Costco, when you go to buy stuff in Costco, you see the actual aisles and you see the pallets, and you know there's so much. They don't have any reserve area. You directly pick from those warehouse spaces, right? So similar, this is a type of storage, but similarly warehouses have a lot of different types of storages. And when in warehouse management we discuss how the products are received, stored, um, stock type changes, how it is done, how it integrates to production. So as part of this project, as part of being associated with a project as EWM consultant, you'll be responsible for mapping these processes. You'll be responsible for designing the processes, executing the inbound outbound flows, and also integrating with production quality. EWM basically is a very integrated module. So as part of this course, what we expect you to have inventory management, concepts of should be clear. We don't need you to know all about the movement types, the value string, and all those things. At least as part of inventory management, you should be knowing what is good receipt, goods issue, material document, basic concepts, because these basically EWM integrates with IM, and a good knowledge in IM will help you to understand overall end-to-end process or how EWM connects with the ERP system. Okay, so this is one prerequisite. We recommend you to have prior knowledge on inventory management. If you're not able, if you haven't worked on it, or if you're not been able to work on this inventory management in your past experience, just let us know. We will do some catch up sessions for you. Okay, so you need access to the system, and you need access to SAP that we will provide you, and you need SAP experience before. So these are, these are the prerequisites. This training is not only for the people who are migrating or upscaling them from themselves from WM to EWM, but also, if you are a SD consultant, MM, PP, even you are from a web background, you can take this course and understand SAP EWM. Okay, so this was about the prerequisite, and then let me give you a quick you know uh, walkthrough about what are the different processes in EWM, what is the course content of EWM, what are we going to learn, and how are we going to learn. Okay, so in terms of course content, you can find the course content on the website. So our team will also uh, share with you this. Just give me a minute. This this is our this is from a previous batch. Okay, and I think it's not a EWM batch, but let me see. Okay, so a similar link will be shared with you. I don't have the exact link here. Just give me a minute. So we need we will be discussing with you all the topics, and I'll just quickly take you through. Just 1 minute. Okay, that's my link. Okay. Okay, so this is from a previous batch. So similar web page will be created for our batch, and this is what the course content we are going to cover as part of our training. So I'll quickly walk you through the course content so that you can understand what are we going to cover, and then we can discuss about if you have any questions on these course content. So feel free to stop me at any point of time, if in case you have any queries or doubts. So so in this training, we basically this training we it's not at all theoretical training, or just I'll speak, and you'll just have to take in. It's interactive. We expect a lot of interactive discussions and process discussion and variants to be discussed. So EWM is best learned, when you visualize how things are happening in the warehouse, right? So we have a lot of inbuilt scenarios, around 50 plus inbuilt scenarios we have based on our prior experience in projects, and those scenarios we'll execute while we are learning SAP EWM. It's not about learning the concepts, understanding what it does. We'll also understand practical application of those concepts. So we will configure a scenario and test it. So concepts are better learned when you see how they are being applied, right? I hope you all agree with me on that point here. So we will create a warehouse. Okay, we will create a warehouse, and in that warehouse we will execute all the processes. So we will set up the org structure first. We'll create warehouse, ERP warehouse, EWM warehouse. We do the integration. We'll set up all the org structure within the warehouse. So in our case, let's say we create a warehouse. Okay, let's say this is our warehouse. Okay, this we'll design our own warehouse. This is warehouse from our previous batch. So we get this stock, we put it into the quality area, we then take it to different areas. So the warehouse have different areas of storage. So we have some case study warehouses. We will refer those case study warehouses, and we will execute those movements processes in the case study warehouse. We'll also, while we are learning, we'll also pick an industry. Let's say we take a engine manufacturing, or a pump manufacturing, or a car manufacturing, we can take some retail industries, and we can execute some processes in those companies. So the idea is to execute the process so that we understand the concepts better and how we can apply them. So this similar warehouse, a template, a case study will be provided to you, and you will have to, while we are executing, we will have to configure them from scratch. They are not there in standard best practice. We'll configure them, we'll understand the different configuration, and we'll test the processes. So while we are configuring them, okay, so we have to also integrate with ERP. EWM has several deployment options. EWM can be embedded in S4 HANA. EWM can be decentralized. So our focus will be on the S4 HANA. That's the latest deployment option in S4 HANA 1909 embedded. But we will also have we also have topics and scenarios where we will we this whole implementation, all the setup will execute in 1909 embedded system, but we'll also have a delta session where we'll cover how the same processes. So what is the difference in the process or difference in the setting in a decentralized warehouse? So decentralized warehouse, EWM is in a separate instance. Okay, so we will discuss about the data topics from embedded warehouse compared to a decentralized warehouse. Okay, so the setup is done. We create this warehouse. Let's say we did the embedded warehouse setup, and later on we'll catch the delta things, and in that warehouse then we'll set up the RF. So if you see, you will have a lot of examples of warehouses. I mean, all of you might have visited some of the other warehouse. Okay, so such warehouse, we have to create warehouse. Basically comprises of different storage spaces. This is a door, this is a staging area, for example. These are the rack storages. Okay, and these are conveyors, these are quality work centers, these are automated systems. So all the systems we'll have to set up and execute the process. So when we set up a warehouse, the next thing is executing the process. So are we going to execute the process on are we going to execute you know the process on the desktop? No. If in EWM, the processes are executed on the RF scan guns. See, these are the devices which are used on the floor. Okay, and for these devices to work, we need to set them up in EWM. There are standard screens like this. You can get these screens activated and you can execute the process. So you see something like someone like a picker will use the scan gun and scan the barcodes and execute the process. So if you have worked in WM before, this similar concept we also had in WM as well. Okay, so this RF setup is required. Why? Because all the processes, almost 90, I would say 90 to 95% of EWM processes are all going to be executed on this, because EWM is warehouse. People are moving the parts, they are on forklifts, they're handling some automated system. So they need on the floor, they don't have desktops. They will use such devices, and they will scan. And nowadays you have modern devices, you can scan with the camera, and next done. Product has been received, product has been moved to the warehouse. So there are Fury applications also. So these RF transactions is what we will set up, and we will talk about the configuration setup and how this overall framework works in EWM. We'll also discuss the warehouse monitor, which is a tool for monitoring the warehousing process. Again, before we start processing the process setup and testing, we should be aware, what are the tools to track the status of stock, the movements of the material. So basically, warehouse monitors are similar transactions are basically the favorites of the supervisors. So they will sit in their office, and the pickers and the put away team are executing the process on the RF. and they will just check, how things are being progressed. If there is any bottleneck, if there are any errors, there are several alert mechanisms. They will be, notified, and they can take actions on them. Okay. So these are some monitoring transactions which we'll discuss. So in S4HANA, very important, all the transactions are now, not GUI based, but they are Fiori based. So we will also execute all Fiori transactions, and we'll explore the new Fiori applications that SAP has provided. So 1909 will also, while we are executing, we will make sure the latest development in SAP S4HANA and SAP EWM, we are going through those concepts as well. Okay. So then we start with the processes. We first start with inbound. See, our aim is to first, go through the basic. So if the basic is clear, then, understanding the advanced functionalities, it is going to be easy. So first we'll start with the basic warehouse setup, uh, inbound process, the basic outbound process. So in the basic process, we'll do the strategies, how to get the parts in, what type of storage it is. We'll discuss about, the how EWM inbound integrates with quality, and we'll also talk about availability group, how storage locations are mapped, and many other things. So this is purely, setting up a inbound. Now, a warehouse in EWM can be, we classify them into three levels, small, medium, complex. Okay, so we first start with, setup for a medium scale warehouse, because if you cover medium, obviously small is also covered. Then for complex warehouse, in this basic functionalities, we have to add-on functionalities like we do inbound. Now in inbound, we'll do it with yard. Okay, so we are going to activate yard management down the line. Inbound, we need to do the inbound in several intermediate processes. Like our inbound is not only just doing the good receipt and taking them into the bins, but after the inbound, we will take it to quality, we'll take it to a deconsolidation area, and then finally we'll put away the stock into the bin. Okay, so these are intermediate steps which we can activate as part of our process. Okay, so this this storage control, or this concept of storage control, is also going to be used in picking. So before that, we'll cover all the picking, wave management, very important functionality of EWM, groups together deliveries, optimize the picking, helps us to, supply the customer at the right time. And there are strategies. We'll talk about batch management and serial number management, very common stock requirements that we have in warehouses, and how the SLAD check works. We are going to discuss all those concepts. Advanced production integration. We also have, we will select an industry which has manufacturing also in place. Why we would do that? Because EWM has a very good integration with production. So, I mean, warehouses, can be independent warehouses, or they can be, close to some production facility. Our aim is to also understand how it integrates with production. So we will select an industry, a warehouse, where we have production storage area as well. So we can get the stock into the production, and we can receive stock out of production, finished product out of production. So we will go through that setup as well, okay, in the advanced production integration. So then, again, this outbound, this production integration of the outbound process, we will make it a complex. We'll activate picking optimization using creation rule. We'll talk about, how custom processes of SDMM are, integrated in EWM. How do we integrate the custom delivery types? What are the configuration to map any enhancement done on the ERP side? See, EWM, we will also have to, slightly execute processes in other modules like quality, PPSD, because we need to set up data in those areas, and then those data we will reuse while executing the processes in EWM. So then finally, after covering the inbound, outbound complex processes, we'll move to the internal warehouse process. Okay, so inbound basic, outbound basic, then converting them into complex processes, adding new functionalities, optimization processes. So then we will, do the start the the internal process. Before we go to internal, outbound complex process would be, pick the stock, take it to packing, do the relabeling or staging. The truck comes, there are appointments for the trucks being managed, and then we load the stock from the staging area onto the truck. Okay, so we can do outbound in several intermediate steps. You can also integrate with transportation management as well. Okay. So coming back to our posting changes, coming back to our internal processes, EWM within or any warehouse management has, while we execute the internal processes, we also have you know physical inventory to be done. We want to make sure the stock in the system and physical stock exactly match, so we need to do regular counting. So we will go through the several processes that we have in EWM for physical inventory. We'll talk about the posting change, stock transfer, replenishment. This is how we handle the stock in the warehouse. Like if I want to move it from one bin to another, change mark the stock as a quality stock, or I have to do any replenishment, moving the stock from one area to another. Replenishment is, it's like fixed bins, dedicated bins for products. We make sure, that they are always refilled, whenever the stock goes down below minimum level. There are several strategies in replenishment. See, what we also plan to discuss with you all is, the enhancements, the commonly used enhancements, commonly used, developments or business requirements that we get, and that is not possible in SAP standard SAP, and we have to activate somebody or do some code change. We'll also discuss. For example, there is a strategy in replenishment very commonly used, and for that we have to write a small algorithm. So we'll explain you, how that typical strategy works in most of the companies. Okay. SAP has now given us the algorithm in an OSS note itself. So these kind of discussions we'll have in our training sessions. Okay. Finally, we will go to the cross topics. So these are, so we discussed inbound, outbound, internal separately. These cross topics are basically the topics, common for all. And basically these are, add-on functionality, which you may not see in all companies. But yes, these are very good features. And as EWM consultant, you should be knowing this, because when you go for projects, you will be analyzing whether these functionalities are required or not. So labor management, value-added service, cross-docking, MFS, these are the cross functionalities. We will talk in case of cross topics. We'll also discuss about PPF. What is PPF? Post-processing framework. This is a framework which has replaced the overall message determination that we have within ECC. Very good functionality, gives us a lot of flexibility in handling the outputs. Just imagine a warehousing outputs, can be very complicated. You have labels getting printed, you're moving the stock out of the warehouse, so goods issued, documents should be printed like bill of lading and all. There'll be a lot of automation, because so much things are going to happen on the RF. So a lot of automation should be there. So but when we receive stock, automatically it should come in the gun. So following processes should be done. So before we get the stock on the gun, the prerequisite processes like the delivery creation, order creation, all those things should, packing, all those things should happen in the background, right? So a lot of background processing is happening based on the strategies, rules, and setup that we do in system, and we configure them as part of PPF. Okay, so PPF is slightly technical, but we will cover whatever maximum we can, and we for the whatever maximum a functional consultant should know. And what are the actions required by us in a project. We'll cover all those PPF settings and configuration as well. Okay, so I'll take a pause here. Sorry, I just went through the entire course content. Any questions, guys, till this point of time? Anything anybody would like to discuss? Yes,
So, hi Johan, this is Naveen.
Mm-hmm.
So, are we going to discuss about the handling units and complex handling unit? Because currently I'm facing some difficulty in packing multi-level, or I mean, we have a requirement like we have to have a handling unit in a handling unit and handling unit in a handling unit. It's like 3-level handling unit. So are we going to discuss about those topics?
Yes, we will discuss them. So handling units is very, so most of the processes, in EWM, they are supported only with handling units, because handling units, we assume, for complex warehouse, it is definitely going to be there in EWM. And yeah, we'll cover about, we'll talk about handling units. We will set up handling units. We'll automate the creation of handling units using packaging specification, and stock wise also we will manage handling units in multiple levels as well. For example, a common, as you mentioned, there's a pallet, and pallet you have boxes, and then in boxes you have several layers of material. Yes, we'll discuss how to map them, how to store them. Plus, what, as when you're giving consulting to your customers, what is the mostly commonly used business processes, or business setup or handling unit setup that we should recommend our customers. We will all discuss all those points here.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is Ranga here. I don't have any questions right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Johan, this is Venkat. Are we going to see any standard PPF form printout? Like any?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, in S/4HANA, SAP has given us good Fiori outputs. In the physical inventory output, the handling unit outputs, we'll see all those smart forms outputs, and there are some Adobe forms also. We'll go through them as well.
And also implementing some basic baddies. Are we going to cover that?
We'll cover, since we are using sandbox system, and there are, teams that are working on this, we may not implement a body, but we'll talk about a body, where to activate, what is the purpose, what is the commonly used body. So we will discuss, but we won't be activating it in our training.
And also some debugging techniques if needed.
See, hey, this is a purely functional training. We won't be discussing about the debugging, but we will talk about how to troubleshoot. If at all a delivery is stuck, how to look into the queues, how to stop the queues, how to debug the queues. But we will not spend time on the codes. Going through the code, how the debug is. Going to different places. But yeah, how to troubleshoot, initial debug, and how to reach a point in debug, that we'll cover, but we will not go in too much detail on the technical side, because this is mostly on the functional side. Yeah. Yes, Ambika, we have some questions.
Hi, Yogan. So I'm completely new to the SAP EWM field. So do I need to have some knowledge before attending this class?
So, Ambika, do you have any SAP experience before this?
No.
Okay. So what we'll plan for you is, we can have we discussed initially, that we have this inventory management, which we need you to know before you start working in EWM. So others, maybe knowing those, we may have worked on those areas, but since you're new, will do a session with you, a couple of sessions on inventory management to bring you up to speed. You can learn EWM. It's good. It is a futuristic model, and you will. There's a lot of demand in SAP EWM, but yeah, I think in terms of for you, since you're new, you have to spend extra time in helping yourself with understanding the navigation and SAP, and understanding the basics of basic navigation and basic concepts of SAP IM, SAP
Okay.
MM and its submodule. So we will guide you on that. You can have some separate session with you.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Young. Any questions from you?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes. What is almost the different between SAP WM and EWM?
Okay. So, Young, have you worked in WM before?
Yes.
Okay, great. So WM and EWM, there is a lot of difference. Okay, so I would list out a few differences here. Number one, WM cannot manage serial numbers. Okay, so I'll list down the pain points. Considering those pain points, most of the business, they move from WM to EWM. First of all, the serial numbers. When you look in the bin, you can't get the bin-wise information of serialized parts. This is one challenge. In WM, which you get default out of the box in EWM. In EWM, the basic processes like loading, unloading, for which we require enhancement on the EWM side, out of the box standard in EWM. Plus, you get all these functionalities like wave management, yard management, resource management. So when we say resources, we have these forklifts and the handheld devices. Okay, so this forklift, you can see these are the resources that are used in warehouse. In WM also we use them. So now these resources are mapped in system. Which resource can execute which task, which resource, what is the capability of the resource, how much weight it can handle, and which areas it can go into, which storage type it is allowed, it's not allowed. All those controls can be done. So we can do resource management. The RF, this is, functionally we have many things. EWM has a flexible integration with production, where you can design your own process within the warehouse. You don't have to depend on ERP. So EWM is independent in terms of integrating with production. I was explaining about doing inbound and outbound in intermediate steps. Okay, so like inbound we do the GR. In WM we can just do put away into the print. But here we can do inbound, then we can move the stock to quality. We then move the stock, if the mezzanine is full, we can move it to clarification zone, and then we can move it here. So this is automated. These are intermediate movements which are automated through storage control. Same way in the outbound, we can pick and directly goods issue in WM. We can pick, pack, stage, load. So the entire process is split into several intermediate steps in EWM. Okay, so that's the main process-wise difference. There is a huge difference. Why SAP? Many students, they ask me, okay, why SAP did not change WM, or like MM? They didn't. SAP will have did a development of MMSD, but why WM it overall came up with a new module? So there are several reasons to that. First, the warehousing business changed a lot in the last couple of decades. Lot of data is generated in EWM. So So these data, for handling this data, we need a better landscape, better programming, better infrastructure. So changing the existing WM, doing such a major change to already existing module would have impacted a lot of customers. So they did a separately new programming, we call it as object-oriented programming, and they using class methods. Everything has been separately programmed. So this is to give us the flexibility. So when you see in EWM, you again get a lot of flexibility. Enhancements are very easy. You have a lot of bodies and writing codes independent, and various enhancement points are you have more enhancements, scope of doing enhancements. You have a lot of scope because every warehouse is different. So you have one or the other enhancement in a project. So the entire programming has been changed. Our overall landscape has been changed to handle large volume of data. So WM is basically used only for small warehouses. EWM, the market is for medium and large warehouses. Huge data, handling large volumes, integrating with automated processes. So things like the automated conveyors, the automatic storage systems. EWM directly communicates with them without even middleware. Okay, so SAP, almost from 2010 onwards, as they decided to go with EWM, they have stopped. They would have said that they stopped in 2015, but we observed in 2010 onwards there was no development, and the total focus has been in EWM. And you can see over the years, how many new functionalities and simplifications have been added. So technically, the overall programming is different in EWM, and this is recently developed module. So you have a lot of capability to handle a lot of data. Then the other programming side, we discussed about the PPF. There is another concept called as RF framework, which, since I have also worked in WM, I can talk for us together, what is the difference. But just I'm highlighting the important ones. There is something called as RF framework. The RF, just imagine in RF you have to make some change, bring in a new field. We have to make some custom RF transaction. It is very, very difficult, and what SAP has done in S4, or I would say in EWM, basically they have simplified the framework. So now the assumption is there will be custom RF transactions. So SAP has given us a lot of flexibility that we can write our own code specific to warehouse, specific to storage type, and we can loop that code in the standard processing. Yeah, we'll discuss that framework, how it works. So the creating a new transaction, making changes to existing transaction, writing some logic, a loop wise only for a warehouse, and then again going back to the standard transaction. All these concepts are I think executed very well, implemented very well in EWM. You have the RF framework. You can find almost all processes: packing, loading, transportation unit, physical inventory, everything we'll find in standard RF. Basically, everything out of the box we get. We don't need to develop anything. Whereas in WM, we had very limited basic transactions on RF, and development also, any new small logic you have to change, you have to create a new transactions all the time. So here the existing transactions can be leveraged, and it reduces the number of enhancements. So the RF framework is also one of the major change. So I would say when I joined EWM, I felt it was a totally different module. Screens are different. Yeah, the strategies and all those functional experience does help, but technically when you go through the system, you go through the concepts, they are very, very different to WM.
Okay. So I have another question.
Yes.
I have been implemented the 3PL warehouse, and so in SAP WM, So I want to know how to apply for the value added service for 3PL and focus on the deeper process of
3PLs.
WM's 3PL for the 3PL for EWM side.
Yeah. So is your 3PL part? You're going to have 3PL is going to have SAP. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so the customer has SAP. They have a third party's warehousing system. Or this 3PL is for the logistics, right? For the transportation you're talking about.
No, it's not transportation, just
storage.
warehouse management.
Okay.
Yeah, storage side.
Okay, so this
it's
is
not include transportation side.
Okay, so this is like an additional storage for your warehouse. If there is an overflow of stock, they may store it there, right? Something like that. Or certain parts. Yeah.
So yes, they handling the customer product. So they have their own products. They only the handling the customer product, the inbound and outbound, and the storage fee. They calculate the storage fee as well, and they also charge the value added service, and then the posting the directly in the finance side as well. So I want to know the how to handle the EWM side for those kind of process.
Yeah. EWM, we don't need integration with. First of all, we don't need integration with only SAP ERP. We can also talk to any non-SAP ERP also. So let's say we'll take an example. We are into 3PL. We store products of different customers. They may SAP EWM can communicate to customers within SAP or it can be out of SAP also. So we can EWM, in one warehouse you can integrate to multiple ERPs. You can check the stock. You can get a clear bifurcation of stock based on which ERP system it has arrived from, and the stock never gets mixed. If warehouse A wants a material, we will not be able to pick products of another warehouse. So that management is there, the integration is there, and in terms of the value-added service, the activities that we do into this 3PL warehouses, we have a sub-module called as warehouse billing. So what warehouse billing does, we calculate how much work has been done, okay, for let's say customer A, and that for that customer A, we using warehouse billing, we bill that customer on the amount of work we have done, like number of receipts. Is it based on number of receipts, number of transactions, or the number of pick tasks we have created? So using warehouse billing, you can also integrate with finance and give them the information of how much work has been processed within the warehouse. So integration possibility is there. Standard SAP EWM, it will recognize the different ERP system. And if it is SAP, it is going to be QRFC communication. If it is non-SAP, it will be IDOC communication. And yes, you can integrate and you can manage stock, as well as you can report the services that has been utilized using warehouse billing with EWM. So this is how we will implement it with warehouse billing.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question from anyone? Okay, so no questions, then I'll just quickly take you through this. training blog that we have. So this training blog, uh, we will share with you a lot of assignments. Okay, so all the okay, they are not here. All the material related to SAP EWM, you will find them here. So the assignments are also here. So basically each unit, we have this stepwise, Word document or a PPT document to explain, how the process works. All the material will be provided with you. Let's say if you're discussing about the org structure, the overall org structure and the configuration, different configuration, what we have done. So our aim is to, give you, documentation of what you have covered in the training, so that when you go into project, you don't have to refer the recordings. These documents are handy with you. So we have this PPTs, we have this lab activities, which we will share with you. So we have, we have gone through in a logistic org structure creation. So this is the lab activity. So all stepwise document, will be provided to you, like how that lab activity was done. Okay. So for example, this is the integration basis. So how we did that. So all these steps, you will find it here. Okay. So we have documented entire, training in terms of, since we are doing corporate trainings also. So we have documented all the trainings in our in the PPTs as well as in the lab activities. You will find all the demos. The assignments are there. The evaluation sheet, the question answers evaluation sheet to help you test, your understanding of the subject are there. Certification dumps, useful books, and all this information we will share for all the modules. So all the modules that we have discussed, all this information will be shared with you. One thing I didn't mention is, we will also talk about data migration. Very important in EWM, how we migrate stock, how we migrate, the master data from WM to EWM, or in a greenfield project, how we load the stock. We'll share all the templates with you, and also we will test those templates, how they work. Okay. So even, you will be provided with the material. There is a dumps and whatever reference books or SAP document links, useful documents from SAP, which we need in projects. We'll share those with you based on our experience, whatever we have collected through our project implementation. We'll share those with you, and we will also have our, obviously server will be also provided. We will also have, so like, let's say this batch, we can find all the, meeting link and which day what was covered, and also the recordings will be uploaded by the team here. Okay. So right from demo to our, to our last session, everything will be available in this recording folder. I think there is the most important thing is discussion board. So while you are practicing, or if we have some queries, doubts, when you're practicing yourself, so you can, load your questions. We'll discuss, and we will, any issue that you have, right from system access to, any issue while practicing, you can discuss, and we will get back to you, and we'll reply to you, and we'll get the answers to your queries. Okay. So this discussion board is like, like tracking all the issues, and whatever you face issues while you're practicing, please report it here. I'll get back to you and reply you as soon as possible. Okay. So obviously we'll be meeting 3 to 4 times a week. We can also discuss during our sessions, but after sessions, if there is something, we can update it here. And I mean, this discussion board is for everything. If you have access issue, you have some server issues, you just load it here. Our internal incident management team will pick this up, and we will resolve it as soon as possible. So this is about the the training block that we have. And last thing is, we spoke about the prerequisite. We spoke about, what background you should be. And if you're new, then, inventory management, you need to catch up. And these are the available job roles that you'll find in market for SAP EWM. These are the, basically requirements that you see when you look for SAP EWM as a consultant or an architect or a functional consultant. So you can apply for any of these job roles. Okay. So in terms of market, just our marketing team has done some analysis. This is what, is what we get is, EWM consultant, the average salary is, 185,000, dollars annual salary that a EWM consultant gets. So this is way more than your normal SAP functional consultant, average salary. So salary wise, it's in demand, and you will see a lot of good, you'll get good offers in SAP EWM. This is some of the research, we wanted to share with you. Okay. And yes, since more and more customers are going for SAP EWM, customers are migrating from WM as well, because WM SAP has, declared they are not going to do any new developments, or new functionalities are not going to come in WM. EWM it's going to be the futuristic module. So many warehouses are coming into EWM. So that is why, the number of requirements are going up, and also the billing rates are going up. So do encash this requirement, and you can see the job postings till last year. And this is there, in our shared drive. We'll share the slides with you. You can refer them. So how many permanent openings were there, and how many contractual openings, for the overall percentage increase in the openings. We have also, updated a slide for you for your reference. Okay. All right. So that's it.
Johan, one question. So there will be some certification help, right, with the dumps? You will provide the material.
Yes, we will provide you the certification materials, the dump, the books, and we'll also guide you, how you should approach your certification.
Okay.
And how long we will have access to the system servers?
I think it is for 2 months, but yeah, you can check with our coordination team. I'm not exactly aware of the duration, but I think minimum 2 months till we have training, you will have it. And I think it can be extended, and our training team, can give you, a coordination team can give you more details on that.
Okay.
I think that's it from my end. Anything else anybody would like to discuss? I hope we are clear, what we are delivering and what our aim is. And if you have any questions or anything to discuss them now. Okay. All right. If no further questions, then we'll end our session for today. If you still have any questions, you can reach out to our coordination team, and they can get us connected, and we can again, have a discussion. So we'll catch up again in our first session. So hope to see you all soon. So our next session will be our first training session, first topic on SAP org structure. So we'll connect in that session, and we will discuss more about SAP EWM. Thank you.
When would be the first session? Tomorrow?
The first session is just give me a minute. Yes, the first session is tomorrow. Yeah, and then next week is the second session on 27th. So yeah, tomorrow is our first session. So yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow then.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.